You have watched thousands of football matches. You have heard the crowd roar when a goal goes in. You have heard the silence when a penalty is missed. You have felt the atmosphere shift when a stadium turns on a team. And you thought you understood what the crowd was doing. You thought they were just watching, just reacting, just noise. They are not just noise. They are one of the most powerful forces in professional football. And the science behind what they actually do to the players, the referees, and the outcome of matches will change everything you thought you knew about the beautiful game. This is what you never noticed about how crowd noise changes football. Start with the referees, because this is where the science gets immediately uncomfortable. In 2002, sports psychologist Dr. Alan Neville conducted one of the most significant studies ever carried out on referee decision-making in professional football. He took experienced referees and showed them the same footage of tackles and challenges twice. Once with crowd noise, once in silence. The referees watching in silence gave significantly more fouls against the home team than the referees watching with crowd noise. The crowd was literally changing what trained professional referees saw with their own eyes. Not what they chose to do, what they actually perceived as a foul in the first place. Think about what that means. The roar of disapproval from 80,000 home fans when a tackle goes in does not just pressure a referee. It rewires their perception in real time. Their brain, processing an ambiguous situation under extreme noise and social pressure, unconsciously leans toward the interpretation that reduces the threat. The crowd becomes quieter if the home team gets the decision. So the brain gives the home team the decision, without the referee even knowing it is happening. This is not weakness. This is human neuroscience. The same cognitive bias that makes every human being unconsciously seek social approval operates inside a referee's brain at the highest level of professional sport. And the louder and more unified the crowd noise, the stronger the effect. Now look at what the crowd does to the players themselves. Sports scientist Dr. Andrew Caron, whose research on crowd effects in elite sport has been cited across hundreds of academic papers, documented something he called the home advantage amplification effect. When a home crowd is loud, unified, and genuinely intimidating, the home team's players show measurable increases in testosterone levels, pain tolerance, sprint recovery speed, and something researchers call competitive arousal, the physiological state where the body is primed for maximum physical output. The crowd does not just lift the players emotionally. It physically changes their body chemistry. And it does the opposite to the opposition. Away players in front of a hostile crowd show elevated cortisol levels, the stress hormone, before they have even touched the ball. Their heart rates are higher during the warm-up. Their decision-making speed is measurably slower in the first 15 minutes of a match. Their passing accuracy in the opposition half is lower in stadiums with a high crowd intensity rating than in quieter venues. The crowd is not just atmosphere. It is a biological weapon. But here is the part that almost nobody talks about. The crowd does not affect all players equally. Research published in the Journal of Sports Sciences identified what scientists call crowd sensitivity variance, the degree to which individual players are affected by hostile crowd noise. Some players, particularly those who grew up playing in front of large crowds from a young age, show almost no measurable physiological response to crowd noise. Their cortisol does not spike. Their decision-making speed does not drop. Their body has been conditioned through years of exposure to treat crowd noise as background information rather than a threat signal. Other players, particularly those who came through quieter development environments or who have a history of high-profile public failures, show extreme sensitivity to hostile crowds. Their body responds to 80,000 hostile voices the same way a human body responds to physical danger. Every system sharpens, every muscle tightens, and the fine motor control and fluid thinking that elite football demands becomes significantly harder. This is why some players are genuinely different players at home and away. It is not motivation. It is not effort. It is biology. Their nervous system responds to the crowd in a way they cannot consciously control. Now think about the most extreme version of this. The penalty shootout. Sports psychologist Dr. Jair Jordat, whose research on penalty shootouts is the most comprehensive ever conducted, found that players taking penalties in front of hostile crowds miss significantly more often than players taking penalties in front of neutral or home crowds, even when controlling for the quality of the penalty taker and the pressure of the situation. The crowd noise during a penalty run-up affects the striker's gaze behavior, their run-up speed, their muscle tension at the moment of contact, and the micro-decisions they make in the final step before striking the ball. You have watched penalty shootouts your entire life. You thought the player was alone out there. 12 yards, ball. Goalkeeper. They are never alone. 80,000 voices are inside their nervous system at the moment they strike the ball. But the crowd's power is not unlimited. And this is where it gets even more interesting. Research by sports scientist Dr. Silvia Lakatos on crowd noise patterns across European football found that crowd noise only produces its full psychological effect when it is unified, sustained, and specifically directed. A stadium that is loud but scattered, different sections making different noises at different times, produces significantly less physiological impact on players and referees than a stadium where the entire crowd is making the same noise at the same time. The psychological weapon of crowd noise is not volume. It is unity. This is why the most intimidating stadiums in football history are not necessarily the largest. They are the ones where the crowd functions as a single organism, where every voice is pointed in the same direction at the same moment. That unity creates a sound that the human nervous system cannot ignore. It bypasses rational thought entirely and goes directly to the part of the brain that processes threat. Think about the matches you have watched where a comeback seemed impossible, where a team was 1 goal down in the last 10 minutes and somehow found something extra. In most of those cases, the crowd was the difference. Not tactics, not fitness, not individual brilliance. The crowd lifted the home team's testosterone, suppressed their cortisol, sharpened their decision-making, and simultaneously increased the cortisol and decision-making errors of the opposition. All without a single tactical instruction from the manager. The crowd is not watching the match. The crowd is playing it. And the next time you are in a stadium and you choose to stay quiet when your team needs you, or you leave early when the score is against you, or you sit on your hands when a penalty goes against you, you are not just a passive observer withdrawing your support. You are removing a biological advantage from your own players and handing it to the opposition. The most powerful thing a football crowd can do is not cheer when the ball goes in. It is stay loud, stay unified, and stay relentless when everything is going wrong. Because that is when the science says it matters most. If this changed the way you see football, hit the like button. It genuinely helps more people find this channel. And if you want the real story behind the moments everyone else misses, subscribe. There is a lot more where this came from.